Hey, what's up guys, Zeke here back again with another video. So very recently the new COD Mobile update released and it came with some pretty cool new changes, especially in the settings. But of course, before we get into today's video, shout out to None of Nuns. If you guys want a shout out in my next video, all you have to do is leave a like, subscribe, and comment in today's video and I'll choose one randomly for my next video. Speaking of next video, we're gonna be fighting Holy Father and it's gonna be epic. I'm gonna 1v1 him in MP and Battle Royale. Anyways, before we get into the actual settings, there's also some changes that I want to talk about. These are just minor things that make COD Mobile just a little bit better. For example, the increased lobby FPS, it just feels so smooth now in the lobby. But of course, we're gonna start with the most obvious and best change they've added. Zero opacity buttons is now available. Previously, the buttons could only go up to 10% at the lowest, but now you can go all the way to 0%. However, you're going to want to keep it at least 1% because there are some buttons like the jumping button or the weapon inspect button that completely disappear when you put it to 0. I don't know if this is a bug with COD Mobile, but yeah, if you want to avoid this, just make sure to keep it at the very lowest, the 1%, so you don't lose your button completely. And of course, before you put everything to 0, make sure you've mastered your settings first. Because if you don't memorize your controls, you're gonna get lost in the sauce. Okay, so here's what it looks like in game. Honestly, so clean. I've been waiting for this change for the longest time. I've been asking for it, and they finally given it to us. But of course, I have some tips for you guys too. There are some buttons that you're going to want to have on high opacity, or even just 10% at the very least. For example, the minimap, you're gonna want to have the opacity up to 100%, of course, so you can see your enemies where they're shooting from. There's just so much advantages with having the map there, but of course, if you're just trying to get some clean, flashy clips with nothing on your screen, go for 0 opacity, that's up to you. But next is the scoreboard. If you put the scoreboard to a very low opacity, you don't know if there's enemies alive, and that's pretty important for S&D, and you don't know the score in hardpoint and whatnot. So yeah, make sure to keep that as a decent opacity. And your settings buttons. Now let's get into the actual 4 new setting options in the basic settings. So we have hitting optimization of crosshair, dynamically hide crosshair, and sound visualization. I'm gonna break it down to you guys what these do, but you can pretty much tell for yourself just by pressing the question mark to know exactly what it is, but I'm gonna show you what it looks like in game and whether you should have it on or off. And the fourth, it is in your audio setting, it's the Dolby Atmos. Let's start with dynamically hide crosshair on. Should you have this on or should you have this off? So here's what it looks like. Every time you sprint or climb, you see those 4 lines on the side of your crosshair? Yeah, they disappear. Now this is what it looks like off. When it's off, it's just a standard old crosshair pre-update where it just kind of expands a bit. Now my thoughts on this is I prefer having it off. I don't know about you guys, but it kind of throws me off when the crosshair just suddenly disappears when I'm sprinting. So yeah, it still comes down to personal preference, of course. Next, we're going to be talking about hitting optimization of crosshair. Here's a side-by-side comparison of what it looks like on versus off. Off is basically just what it looked like before the update, and on is the new option you get. Now, for me, I personally still prefer the off because, I don't know, it's just simple and it's not too distracting. On is a little bit too distracting for me, but it does make the game look a little cooler. So if you're just a casual player who wants the visuals, now for the next setting change, if you go to audio and graphics, head on to audio, you'll see Dolby Atmos. So this just enables Dolby Atmos, a more immersive audio gaming experience. So it just basically gives you better audio, so go ahead and turn that on. Now lastly, let's head on to sound visualization. So sound produced by walking, sprinting, and jumping will appear on the minimap now. So you might be wondering, what does this look like? Let me show you in game. So right here I am sprinting, you can see there's this kind of circle outline, and when I'm walking it disappears. What this basically says is within the circle the enemies will hear you. So you see me jumping, there's a second outline. So when you're jumping, you actually create a further radius of noise. It's just kind of a cool little feature to have, but it does help in a way for certain players, specifically the newbies. For the pro players that are already used to the sound cues, doesn't do much of a difference. Now there are some other features that COD Mobile added, some intentional, some may not be. For example, when you get killed, this is what it looks like now. So much cleaner, so much better. but I think there's a bug. I'm not quite sure if this is a bug or a feature. For example, I kill these two players and in the same round, it's not telling me who's dead and who's alive anymore. So I'm hoping COD Mobile changes this, but yeah. So overall, dynamically hide crosshair, I prefer it off. Hitting optimization of crosshair, I prefer it off as well. The sound visualization, I have it on. And also the newly added Dolby Atmos audio, I have it on as well. But at the end of the day, your settings, your choices. So if you prefer having this on or off, it's completely up to you. These are just my recommendations. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one when I 1v1 Holy Father. Anyways, let's hop into some gameplay of having 0 opacity in rank.
What the hell? What are you guys doing?
Go down.
Has dropped the bomb. Recon standing.
We're down.
You've entered the bomb site.
Contact with enemy. Sniper down.
Recon ready for deployment.
Go down. Sniper. Enemy down.
UAV recon standing by. Bomb has been planted.
Enemy inside.
UAV recon standing by.
Enemy contact.